Welcome. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a Visual Studio C# solution, how to save that solution, how to locate that solution in your folder, and then how to zip that solution up and submit it to Moodle. So let's go ahead and create a quick Visual Studio solution. So I'm going to go ahead and open up Visual Studio 2019. And I'm going to create a new project. And we are working with the console, so I'm going to go up to project type, and I'm going to choose console. And I'll get a number of templates that I can use. And the one that we're looking for is the C# console app.NET framework. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to click next. And I'm going to call this application Hello World. And then I'm also going to choose a location. Now, my suggestion to you is that you never take the default or suggested location. You just, for any number of reasons, but mostly so that you know exactly where it is. So we're going to go click on our three dots, and we're going to go to the desktop. You can see I actually have a CIT1 folder sitting over here. So I'm going to go to the desktop. I'm going to go to CIT 110. You'll see I've put some weeks in here. I suggest that you organize all of your files by week. And so I'm going to go into week 1 and all right, 01, just so you know I put 01 in there so that and 02 and 03, so that the week 01 appears before week 10, which would be 10. All right, so I'm going to select that folder. It looks like we're all good. We've got a project name. We have it going where we want it to go. The solution name being the same as the project name is exactly what we want. We're not going to worry about the framework today. So we'll go ahead and create that. Okay, well, we're not going to give any feedback now. In fact, let's not worry about that at all. All right, so let's go ahead and add some code. So we're going to do a console write line. That console write line is going to simply say, hello world. Okay. Now, if we run this, and I'll do that right now, you'll see that it's going to probably just flash a black screen. And I'll explain that in just a second. So there we go. And close down. Now what it did is exactly what we would have, not what we wanted it to do, but if we look at the code, exactly what we expected it to do. It came in here, it found the class program, it then went and found, this is a method called main, and it ran this line of code. And when it was done running that line of code, it finished up the application and closed. So what we need to do is to put in some code that we commonly use when we work with console apps that just causes the console to pause, or I should say causes the application to pause, to give the user something to look at, and then to give us, in this case, a keystroke to move on. So we'll do that. So we're going to do a console, again, a write line, and in this case, we're going to say press any key to exit. Okay, we can make sure we get our semicolon in there, and that just presents the text on the console, and then the actual code, okay, that causes it to pause is console dot, and we're going to do a read key, which basically tells the console to just sit there and wait or for the user to hit a key, and any key, and bring that key back. And what happens then, of course, is we're then done with the application. The application will close. So let's test that out. So it says, hello world, press any key to exit. I'll hit the space bar. Seems to be working just fine. Okay, so now that we have our program, our application written, tested, obviously a very simple application, let's go ahead and save it before we do anything. And I always recommend once you have that saved, go ahead and close that solution. Okay, now it's going to pop up and ask us. I'm just going to kind of close that and minimize. Now here's the folder. So let's go in and into week 1, and you'll see that there's actually a folder called Hello World, which was the same name as our solution. And if we go in there, you'll see that we have another folder called Hello World, and then we have this hello world.sln. Now this SLN stands for solution. This file has just some information that Visual Studio uses. This is not the file that you want to submit. And in fact, you're not going to submit a single file at all. We're going to zip up an entire folder. Before we do that though, let's go in to look at Hello World. And if you look at Hello World, you'll see there's a number of folders and files in here. And here's the program.cs. This is actually a text file. CS stands for C#. This is actually a text file, and if I go ahead and right click and edit it with Notepad, you'll see it looks exactly like the file we saw in Visual Studio. So we've kind of confirmed that we're in the right place, that we have the right file. So let's go ahead and go back to week 1. Okay. And what we're going to do now is take this Hello World and we're going to zip this up. We're going to take all of the folders and files and compress them into a single file. So if I right click on that, the way that I zip that is I come down here to send to, and you'll see that the second option, compressed zip folder. And it actually looks like a little zipper. So I'm going to just click on that. It gives me an opportunity to change the name. We're not going to change the name. And so now we have that. Interestingly enough, Windows will allow you to go into a zipped folder and kind of peek at it and make sure, hey, everything seems to be there. Okay, and that's always a good idea. All right, so that's the folder that we want to submit. So now to submit it, let's bring up Moodle, and here is week 1, and your first assignment right here, coding activity. I'm going to go ahead and click on this. Obviously, this is not the conversation that I created as my coding activity, but it's an example. And then if I scroll down, you'll see there's an add submission. So if I click on add submission, I have this little box. Now I have a couple options. One is I can actually drag and drop in there, which sometimes is the easiest. If you already have it open, which I did, I can go ahead and drag it in there. And then I'm all set to submit that. Now you have to make sure that you click Save Changes. Okay. If I wanted to, I'm going to go ahead and delete this. The other way to do that is to actually click inside here, and it will bring up the file picker. And then what we're going to do is we're going to choose a file. So this is going to be a standard file browser that you're used to. And we know that that's our folder, our CIT 110 folder sitting on the desktop. And so we're going to go into CIT 110. We're going to go into week 01. And now notice I have a folder and then I have this zipped file. This is the file that we want to submit. Okay, so again, click open and you can see hello world.zip. I'm going to upload this file. Again, I have that sitting there. I'm going to save changes and it will load it up. And now when you're done, you should see that under file submissions, you can see that it has been loaded. It tells me exactly, or tells you exactly when it was submitted, the date and time. And also, if you, just so you know, when you can come back in here at any time and actually download this. So you do have this as have access to this, all of the files that you submit on Moodle. All right, so that should do it. And if you have any questions, as always, make sure you get with me as soon as possible, and we'll help you out. Have a good day.